Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. In this episode, I talk to you about secrets of composition. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Remedy. I'm a French photographer living in the beautiful city of Paris. I make 2 tutorials per week. If you want to get them for free, just click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click here if you want to get over 100 raw files for free from all over the world. Paris, New York, Los Angeles. Alright, in last episode, I talked to you and showed you how we can use Topaz to turn your photography into paintings or cartoons, comic book type of photos. This week, I'm going to take you to Dslr in Florida, a very nice place, and show you this photo of this pier. But what I'm going to talk to you about is composition. I'm going to show you all the composition that I've tried before I got this result. Also, at the end of this podcast, I have a new course coming out called Introduction to Dslr Video and Cinematograph. It's an amazing course. Check it out. You will see a full presentation right after the tutorial. Right now, let me take you to Florida and let me show you how I took this photo of this pier and give you some tips and tricks on composition. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. So today I want to talk to you about composition and photography techniques. I think I like to share an experience with you of when I go and shoot something. I was driving in Florida in a town called Dslr for the people that live there. It's a beautiful little town. And there was a road, and on that road there was this sort of little pier that you can see here. And I wanted to, you have this long exposure shots or this photo you see often where you have a pier coming into the water and then, there is a nice sunset. And I spotted that the sun was coming down there. So I was trying to get the best out of the scene that you could get. When I came to the place, there was a couple there with some dogs. But I thought, okay, fine, it can be cool. The only problem that I have is, so what you're seeing is the row, which are not retouched at all. So the whole idea why I like this kind of photo is because you got this little wooden pier, I guess that's how you call it, that goes, to the horizon with the sun setting. So it's, it's a dynamic photo in itself. There is not much going on except that pier, the water, the sky, and the sun. So, one of the key rules of photography, and that's one, I think, the biggest mistake people do in photography, and that's the biggest mistake I do all the time, is having too much message in your photo. You got too much stuff going on. Try to, get things out. So that's what I love about this scene, because there was not much going on. Okay, so here I am. This is my first shot, just when I arrived, and this is my second shot. So if we look at the metadata, this was shot at 150 per second at f8, ISO 64. I have no idea why ISO 64, because this was shot with a Sony A7R, and I usually, on the ISO, I try to go around 150. Anyway, very low ISO, f.8, so everything is kind of sharp. I usually try to focus of something which is in the middle of the scene, and 1/50th of a second because I wanted the people to be sharp. The only problem with 1/50th of a second is that the water was very frozen, and that's one thing I don't like about water when it gets frozen. Sometimes when there's a lot of little wave, it makes like a very hard texture. So anyways, but first I was trying to find out what would be the best composition. For example, when you shoot something like this, I tried first to go in the middle, to get here, the pier was a bit on the left, okay? Then I tried a bit in the middle. It was kind of cool. Then I said, okay, I'm going to put 2/3 of water and 1/3 of sky and this in the right. So already it's a bit of a more dynamic photo, and I like the sun there. So usually when there is when there is a photo that I think I should retouch, I press 2 on my keyboard and I give it the rating of 2. Okay, so this one I kind of like because, it's dynamic. So let's try another one. This one, I think I just underexposed even more because I was afraid I was going to burn the sun there. So I underexposed it a little bit. So now I'm at 1/6 of a second at f22. Now, why am I at f22? Because I was trying to get the water to be less. See the difference here? I'm at 1/50th of a second and now I'm at f22. So the water has got less texture. The only problem is I was hoping for the people not to move so fast, and they did not. So that's a pretty cool shot because the water is less aggressive. We still have the sun. So I'm going to put 2 on this one. Okay. And then I said, okay, let's go crazy. And I put a ND filter on. I think it was an ND, a variable ND. And now I went to 1.6 of a second because it's very hard to get long exposure with the sun straight into the camera. But here was the problem. The ND filter was giving me nicer water and they were not moving, but it was giving me glares like this, like lens flare, like crazy. I tried different settings with the ND filter and it was just not good looking. It was like that glare was way too strong. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna take this one because I like the rest, you know. It's just a glare is the only thing you see. So anyways, I was still trying to do this, you know, 2/3 of water, 1/3 of sky. All right. Then so I tried different ND, you know, different speed, 2.5 seconds, 1 second. You know, this kind of cool, but the lens flare was just too much for me. So I kept on doing this for a while, and then I just decided to take the lens flare out. I decided to take it out because it was just, you know, I like how the sun is, and that variable was just not good. It was giving me too much of a hard time. So I went back to 1/20th of a second f14, and I kind of like this one, so I'm going to put 2 on it. And then I kept, okay, now I said, let's try other composition. So I moved on the left, and, you know, so that the bridge would come from the right and by the sun, and I kind of like that, so I'm going to put 2 on this one, okay? And then, so one thing I like to do also, and I advise you to do that, I try 2/3 of water, 1/3 of sky, and then I jump to this one, 2/3 of sky and 1/3 of water. You know, complete different composition, but it's the rule of third. You know, the rule of third is you have to have what's the most interesting part of your photo on, you know, 1/3, 1/3. So here you have 1/3 of, let me show you, if I put the crop tool, you can see here, there is a line here and there is a line here. I mean, okay. And so this is 1/3 and 2/3 of sky. It's just, you know, if I have this in the middle, it's kind of cool, but it's less dynamic than this and that, okay? So honestly, on this one, I kind of like this one, the one with a lot of sky and not a lot of this. Then I tried to go, you know, the other way around. I tried to go portrait mode instead of landscape. It was kind of fine. And then I kept on moving. And so again, the sun was coming down very heavily. So I kind of like that. This one was kind of dark, but 1/80th a second. I just wanted to make sure everything was sharp. And then this one, you know, just different settings. You know, like on this one, I was trying to get really like 70% of water, 30% of sky. And then I went to this one, 60% of land, you know, about 40% of sky. And then I went the whole way around. You know, I moved to the right so that the wooden bridge would be on the left, always trying to expose to the highlight. That's why they look a bit underexposed. And then I didn't like that at all, so I went back to this. And actually like this one a lot. Because this one, look at the water. It's 1/5 of a second. There is a bit of a 1/5 of a second, f22. So, but the water is less aggressive, and now the sun is shining all over. So this one I'm going to put 2, actually even 3 on it, because I think I'm going to like this one, okay? And then, because I'm crazy, I went back and put again an ND filter on, and I was hoping for the people to move. So I went back to 1.3 of a second, not usable, 2.5 of a second. Other people start coming on the pier. I was like, oh my God, so I have to wait. And so I waited a little bit until the people left, and I was trying to get long exposure with my ND filter. So I went to 30 second, but the people were still there, so it was kind of weird. It was not working out. And so I waited. Finally they left, and I had, with an ND filter, 15 seconds, but the sun was gone anyway. So I'm going to put 2 on this one also, okay? And then I just kept on trying to do long exposures with this bridge, you know, more and more and more until I came to this crazy long exposure. I put an ND 1000 filter on, and I went to 291 seconds. So now the clouds are very stretchy. It's very underexposed, but you know, I believe we can do something with this photo. So I'm going to put 2 on it. So, and then one thing I always do when I go out and shoot is I take photos of the clouds. When I have nice clouds, I like that. I just take photos of the sky because I build like a whole library. Okay, I build like a whole library of skies. Okay, so now what I can do, I go back to the beginning, and now I'm going to put the filter of 2, so that we only have the photos which I believe deserve to be retouched, which are the 2 stars photo. So this is the first photo. I find that the photo is, the water is too aggressive, so I'm not going to use this one. So this one, right away, I'm just going to put 1 to it, so it goes out. You know, having this selection here of 2 stars, it just takes it out. This one is kind of cool. I kind of like that, but to be honest, I find that the pier is too much in the center. I don't know, it's not dynamic enough. So, okay, I'm going to take this one out. I'm putting 1 to it. This one, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use it. So what I do is do a little fast check. You know, I do my workflow of like opening shadows, highlight, see if it goes. No, it's just way too strong, not usable. Okay, so I'm just going to give it 1 and get it out. Okay, now we come to the good stuff. Here we have a photo 1/20th of a second with 1/3 of water, 2/3 of sky. I like this one. And then we have the reverse. Okay, this one I really like, so I'm going to put 3 on it. Okay, this one I don't like so much. Why? Why do I prefer this one than this one? Because when you do the technique of 1/3 of sky, 2/3 of land, or vice versa, what you go for at the end usually is you take the one that's nicer. If the sky is nicer, you take the one that has 2/3 of sky and 1/3 of land. In this case, I find that the sky is nicer than this water here, you know. So this is why I'm picking up this one, okay? Okay, so I'm getting this one out of the process. Okay, now this one is kind of cool, but it competes with this one. So what I like about this one is this one, the bridge is coming from the right. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to keep this one. This one I really like, although it's got 1/3 of a lot of sky there. And then we come to the lone exposure photos, which is a whole different subject. I mean, they're totally different because there's not enough people there. So at the end of the day, I know I have 3 photos to choose from. So what I do is I select them, I press Shift Tab to get everything out of my screen, and I press N to go into survey mode. Okay? Oh, Shift Tab again. Oops. Survey mode. So survey mode enables me to, you know, that's for me the best of the 3 shots that I had. And I have to decide which one am I going to retouch, you know. And it's funny because even so, I like the sky a lot better in this one and in this one. I like the dynamic of this one. It's got 2/3 of, because I like how the sun was lower here and how, you know, for example, on this photo, you see the bridge is too much in the middle. So the sun lights are hidden by the bridge, okay? On this one, it's better. On this one, it's better. So honestly, I think I would retouch this too. But this one has got something, so I'm going to take this one out. And now we only have 2 photos left, this one or this one. And the only reason why I'm using this one is look how the water here, because this is a bit of a longer exposure. Let's see what it is, but it's, let me press I. Yeah, this one is 1/5 of a second, and this one is 1/80 of a second. So we've got very sharp water, very sharp water there. And now, and there we got less sharp water. So at the end of the day, the less sharp water is gonna win. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna retouch it. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I really this one, and I'm gonna retouch it. So I'm gonna go to the develop module. Now the whole trick is to find the right white balance. But before I do the white balance on this type of photo, when the sun is in the picture, and it's very, when the sun is in the picture, I always expose for highlights. So usually it's very dark. And what I like to do is first do all the sort of, you know, basic exposure before I get into the white balance. So I'm going to open up the shadows and I'm going to bring down the highlights. Amazing. Okay, and then I'm going to do the whites, making sure. So the whites, I'm holding the Alt key, and whenever I go to the right, anything which is becoming red is completely burned. I don't want anything to be burned there. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the black. Now, by the way, this is not an HDR photo. This is a Sony A7R photo taken straight into the sun. See how much detail I get of taking a photo straight to the sun. It's pretty crazy. Okay, and I think I'm going to boost the exposure overall. All right, and I'm going to take this out. Now I'm going to crop it. I'm going to crop it, so I'm going to use the crop tool. The first thing is I'm going to put my horizontal line straight. So I'm going to click on the angle here, making sure I'm following the horizon. And then I think I just want to give it a slightly more dynamic range. I mean, maybe a bit less sky. I still want to have more sky than land, you know, but something like that. So we are more onto the people, more onto the sunset. Okay, now comes the magic. Now clarity on this one, I'm going to go minus clarity. I don't want to do this that everybody does, which is this. I'm going to go minus clarity because I really want the sky to be diffused. I don't want this harsh thing. There's a big spot there that I'm going to take out. Okay. And voila, and voila, and voila. Okay, and there is some other spots there which I'm going to take out. Tuk, tuk. Okay, so now the white balance. Now white balance, I can tell you on this type of photo, makes or unmakes the photo. So let's check daylight. Daylight is pretty warm. I like it. Let's go to cloudy. Cloudy is even warmer. And let's go to shade. Well, I think I like shade, but shade has got way too much green. So I'm going to take out the green and bring down the magenta so we have some really nice colors. Okay, cool. Now, the only problem with shade is that there's no more blue in the sky, and I want a little bit of blue left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Grated Filter. I'm going to first do a Grated Filter like this. Just lowering slightly the exposure and just adding a little bit of blue. Just so we have a little bit of blue there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush here, and I want this whole part of this photo to be even warmer. So for this, I'm going to put my temperature to the right, my tint to the right. So I'm basically going to paint with colors, but I want to do it slightly. So I'm going to get my flow and density around 60. A big circle, and I'm just going to paint here. I'm just adding a little bit of warmth just in the center of the photo, because that's the star of the photo. All right. And basically, I think I'm just going to add a bit of magenta. I think there's a bit too much yellow going on here. So I mean, at this point, usually I take a break and, you know, and work out what I'm going to do next. You know, just to put my attention on something else and come back. But let's finish the basic retouching. Let's go to Untitled Profiles Correction. Remove chromatic aberration. I'm not going to click on auto because I've recropped the photo and I like how it is. Okay, and I'm going to do maybe some vignetting. I think vignetting works really well on mostly landscape and night photos. Okay, and you know what? Then I'm going to right click, create a virtual copy, and then I'm going to completely change the white balance. I'm going to go for a much bluer feeling, something like that. And then I'm going to compare them both and see which one I like the most. Well, you know what? The one I like the most is the one on the left because I'm crazy about magenta. But so it's interesting to compare. Now, I maybe went a bit crazy on the magenta on this one. So I'm going to take it out. I can tell you, when I do my retouching, most of the time, what I spend most of the time on is really finding the right white balance. I think on this one, it kind of works well. This is the original white balance where everything is warm. And now on this one, we've got really like a blue sky, yellow thing. I think it makes more contrast. It's more interesting. It gives more depth to the photo. Okay. And at this point, let's do some little brush. I'm going to go to exposure and brighten up a little bit here, making sure flow and density is around 80. And I'm just going to paint some white here. I just want to increase the feeling of the warmth of the sky here. Okay, and then I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to click then on the Grated Filter. I'm going to zoom in, and I just want to complexify the light here on the wooden bridge. So I'm going to make a little circle, making sure it's inverted with feathering. Add a bit of exposure, and right-click, duplicate, and I just want to add a few circles there, so that the lights on the wooden bridge is not so evenly led. It's a bit more complex. It just makes it a more interesting pier. Okay. And last but not least, let me show you in full. Let's go out of this. Yeah, it's very subtle. I think I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to put one more here and make it bigger, something like that. So check it out, before the circle, after. I just added a bit of texture and made this whole thing a bit more interesting. Okay, and now what I want to do is remember that this whole photo has got a minus clarity. I just want to bring back some clarity just on the wood. So I'm going to take a brush, I'm going to go to clarity. Okay. And let's go plus clarity, and just let's add a bit of clarity just to make that pier a little bit sharper here. You know, so everything is kind of fuzzy except that. Okay, one thing I forgot to do, which is very important on this photo, is the sharpening. So let's zoom in, sharpening and noise reduction. On this one, I'm going to put 100. And now I'm going to do the masking, making sure. Masking, I'm pressing the Alt key and moving to the right. The whole idea of masking is anything which is black is not going to get sharpened. I don't want to sharpen the sky. And no, noise reduction is fine. I'm not going to do any. So that's fine. Now we got a much sharper photo. And voila, so I kind of like the dynamic of it. You know, the eyes is going to follow the bridge, see the people, see the sun, the reflection. We've got contrast in the sky. I kind of like that. So I really wanted to show you the whole workflow from A to Z on like finding the right photo, finding the right techniques. Whenever I go to a scene that I really like, I try a lot of different techniques. ND filters 1000, ND variable, HDR, you know, different framing. I'm trying to get the best I can out of the scene. And well, taking into account that there is the people, that's the best I could. Now, we still have these long exposure photos that needs to be retouched, but that will be for a later episode, my friends. So I hope you like this about composition. We have pretty good composition here, because if you go like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, it gives you 4 golden globes, golden circles, I think they're called. And if you look at it, on the sun, well, actually, you know, there's one golden here, 1/3 here, and 1/3 there. It makes an intersection. There is like a golden round, or whatever it's called, which is where the sun is. And you know, 1/3 of sky, 2/3 of land, 2/3 of land or water. Sorry, it makes a dynamic composition. You know, leading lines coming to a nice light. So you know, this photo respects a lot of basic photography techniques, and that's why I wanted to show it to you. Okay, hope you like this, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Hi everyone, I'm Dare. Now I already know, because you watch Serge's courses and his tutorials, that you, like me, share a passion for amazing imagery. So in this course, what I want to show you is how to use the video function in your DSLR camera and capture amazing video image, take it into Photoshop, and turn it into a cinematograph. Now you've seen cinemagraphs a lot more on the web. They're this interesting blend of still and video to create this repeating animation over and over. They're a great addition to your website, your personal portfolio, or for sharing fun or special moments with friends and family. Now the course is broken down into a few different parts. The first one is an overview of shooting video on DSLR. I know a few of you probably already have some familiarity with it, but what I really want to share with you is things that I've learned over several thousand hours of film and video shooting, and the exact settings that can help turn a good image into a fantastic one and really harness the power of the chip and the lens that you have in your camera. The rest of the course takes up day cinemagraphs, night cinemagraphs, interior cinemagraphs, and do's and don'ts in those scenarios that you want to pay attention to, just so that you get the exact image that you're looking for. I'm really excited to go over this with you. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right, mesdames et messieurs, I hope you'll like this tutorial and you will check out the course on DSLR videos. It's an amazing course and will get you your DSLR videos to the next level. And I will see you in another episode. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.